Hi folks, HR Funk here with a Canik TFX Rival Darkside. Take a look at that. And this is something a little unusual here on the channel. Normally when you see me review a handgun, it's something that is either military or law enforcement oriented or something intended for defensive use by concealed handgun carriers. And this is a handgun that was designed from the ground up as a competition pistol. And I'm going to be taking a look at that in this video. We're going to take a close-up look here in the shop at all of its features and functions, and then I'll head out to the range and we'll see how it shoots. So here we go. So I think by now pretty much everyone knows that the Canik pistols are manufactured in Turkey. And by the way, I know I'm not pronouncing Canik properly. In the Turkish language, it's pronounced Janish or something like that. But I don't speak Turkish, and rather than mispronounce the name in a language that I don't know, I'll mispronounce it in a language that I do know and call it a Canik. In any case, as I said a few moments ago, the Rival Darkside pistols are intended right out of the box for competitive use, and according to Canik on their website, they are appropriate for use in IDPA, IPSC, and USPSA competitions. And it is also intended to be a very affordable competitive option. And as I work my way through this review and show you everything that comes along with this pistol, I think you'll agree that the MSRP of about $680 is pretty reasonable for everything you get with these pistols. So before I even open the box, folks, I have a confession to make. Some of you have been asking me for a long time to review the Canik pistols, and I've been aware of them for a long time. In fact, in looking at the website, it appears that they first started being imported by Century Arms back around 2012. And when I've looked at these pistols in the past, they really just struck me as a clone of the Walther P99. Now, the Walther P99 I think is a pretty good pistol, but there was just nothing about the Canik offerings that really intrigued me or caught my attention. But as I've been looking at the Rival Darkside, I've been very impressed. Now, some of you know recently I've had some issues with some domestically produced handguns that I purchased. And in looking at how Canik packages these and what you get with your firearm, I really think this is a company that's doing it right. And as I open up the case that you get with your Darkside pistol, I'm going to be showing you a lot of the things that come with this. Of course, you get the handgun itself. And really, when you purchase this, it's an entire system. The only thing you don't have when you go out to the range that you're going to need to be able to shoot is ammunition. Because you get the pistol itself, you get a holster, you get 5 optics mounting plates for different types of optics, you get 2 18-round magazines, you get a magazine loader, you have replacement aluminum magazine floor plates, and when we flip the cover down, we see there's even more back behind here. We have our manuals and paperwork right here, and I've looked through the manual. It's a pretty good manual. This, and I'll have to move the camera so you can actually see what I'm looking at here. This is a toolkit back here in the shape of a small handgun. When you take the floor plate off of what would be the magazine here, there are small driver bits. There are also extensions for the magazine release button. There is a replacement fiber optic front sight. There are some screws to hold the optic mounting plates in place. And that's kind of impressive for everything to be contained in this little package. There's also a takedown tool for disassembling the pistol. You get 2 additional replacement back straps for the grip in order to custom fit it to your hands. And you also get cleaning accessories in the form of a cleaning rod and a cleaning brush. All of this with your pistol when you purchase it for that price that I talked about a little while ago of about $680 MSRP. Oh, of course, you also get a lock. I guess I didn't mention that. But as I go through and review the pistol, I'm not going to be talking about many of these other things, and I just wanted to be sure to show you what all you get with your purchase right here at the beginning before I get into the review of the handgun itself. So here is a close-up look at the Rival Darkside out of the box, and the TFX Rival Darkside actually evolved from the earlier pistols offered by Canik, which, as I said a moment ago, themselves evolved from the Walther P99. And if you're familiar with the P99 or those earlier pistols, you can see the evolutionary notes in this pistol in front of you, but there are also a lot of things that differ from that original design, beginning with just the overall appearance. With the slide itself, you can see there are a lot of cuts that are also mirrored in the barrel, and I'll show you later on there are cuts in the barrel itself. Now I suppose these go a little way to lighten the pistol, especially when you have these open areas in the slide and in the top of the slide that, as I said, probably reduce the weight somewhat, but overall I think they're mostly cosmetic, and I think they give the pistol a very good look. And it's time for the tale of the tape. The rival Darkside is chambered for the 9mm Luger cartridge. It has a barrel length of 5 inches, an overall length of 8.1 inches, a height of 5.7 inches, a width of 1.41 inches at its widest point, and a weight of 29.5 ounces. As mentioned previously, the Darkside comes with two 18-round magazines, and these are Mekgar magazines. If I can get this to focus, these magazines say Mekgar made for Canik. And as usual, I think every handgun should come with 3 magazines, but these 2 magazines do appear to be very high quality steel magazines, and as I said, they are made by Mekgar. Starting at the top and working our way down, you can see the adjustable rear sight that's adjustable for both windage and elevation, and a fiber optic front sight that is drift adjustable for windage. And with the rear sight, it is actually incorporated into the optic plate cover right here. So if you remove this cover, you are going to be removing the rear sight along with it, but one of the replacement optic plates has fixed rear sights so that you can co-witness the rear sight with your optic when you mount it, but it's only one of those plates, so it's not every single one that has that. And I'll look at those in a moment and let you know which optic that's for. So here is that optic plate with the integral rear sight, and rather than try to do this by memory, I'm actually going to pull the manual over here and just read right off of it. This sight works with the Canik sight, the Shield, the J-Point, Loophole Delta Point Pro, and other sights with identical footprints. So if you have something other than that, you won't be able to use this particular plate with the integral rear sight. Interestingly, the back of this integral sight is serrated to cut down on glare, as is the back of the adjustable rear unit on the pistol itself. So that's a nice touch, but you also notice both this and that integral sight do not have any dots or anything else to aid with aligning the front sight when you are firing the pistol. Moving on, here's another up-close look at all of the machining that goes into the slide and the barrel. And let me lock the slide to the rear. And you can see the grooves that have been cut into the barrel, or the flutes, if you will. And again, I think this is mainly cosmetic. Maybe it reduces a little bit of friction between the slide and the barrel, but I doubt that it's much. I think mainly this is just for appearance. And it does, with the milling on the slide, allow you to grasp the slide just about anywhere along its length in order to manipulate the slide as you need to. So I think it looks cool. It does have some function, and as I said, it probably reduces the weight somewhat. Now the rival pistols do come in 2 different models. This one, as I've said several times, is the rival Darkside. It also comes in a rival gray, and the rival gray has gold accents to various parts of the pistol. The Darkside, as you can see, is all black. The rival gray has a gray Cerakote to the outside of the slide, and I'm not sure with the Darkside if this is Cerakote or if this is just a black oxide finish. In any case, as you can see, it's at least all black. Checking the fit of the barrel to the slide, as you would expect for a pistol intended for competition, I can't feel any movement of the barrel inside the slide. Now there is a slight slide to frame wobble, a little bit of slop there, but not bad. And that's probably not going to do much to affect accuracy and might even help improve reliability. Moving the pistol so you can see the rear of the slide, we can see a design feature that goes all the way back to the Walther P99, and that is the Cox Striker Indicator, which we see right here. And if the striker is not cocked, we don't see that anymore. This also gives you a tactile feature to be able to feel if the pistol is cocked or not. Now, this is not a loaded chamber indicator. This is a cocked striker indicator, so that's important to note the distinction. But as I said, that goes all the way back to the Walther pistols from back in the day. And that's one of those things, like I talked about, where you can see the evolutionary elements that are still incorporated into this pistol yet today. Turning our attention to the pistol's frame, we can see an integral Picatinny rail here in the front for lights or lasers or what have you. Also, we see a small textured area on both sides of the frame for your thumb's forward hold to be able to index your thumb properly and make sure you get the same grip each time. And it also gives you a place to index your trigger finger when you're not firing. And I always kind of like those features, although these are very small. And one of the things that I notice as I take my grip is I'm really indexing more with the takedown latch right here as I feel that against my thumb than I am that small textured area. But even so, it works fine. And for a place to index your trigger finger when you don't want it inside the trigger guard, I think it actually works a little bit better for that. The trigger guard is grooved in the front to give you some traction if you are one of those shooters that likes to wrap your non-shooting hand first finger around the front of the trigger guard. And also that makes a good place for the rear when you're mounting a flashlight or a laser or what have you to the equipment rail. The rear of the trigger guard is undercut, as you can see, to help you get a higher grip on the pistol to help mitigate muzzle rise a little bit. You can also see around the circumference of the grip there is texturing on both sides and in the front, and this is what I would call a medium texturing. It is not as aggressive as something like the Smith & Wesson 2.0 pistols, but it gives you a pretty good feel and a pretty good purchase on the pistol. I already mentioned the replaceable backstrap on the grip, and I am going to be replacing this. It feels a little small in my hand, and I'm not sure if it's marked to tell me which one this is. This is probably the medium backstrap. That's what most handguns ship with, but I am going to be swapping that out. Also, at the bottom of the grip, we can see the magazine well, and this is a removable magazine well, so if you don't want this for one reason or another, you can remove it and use the pistol without it, or you can leave it in place if you prefer it. So another nice, well thought out feature. You can either have that or not, depending upon your personal preference. The magazine release button is reversible, so you can have it set up either for a right hand or left hand release. Now this is one thing when I was reviewing the manual that it doesn't show you how to do. It mentions that you can do it, but I don't have anything to show me exactly how. I think I could probably figure it out if I fiddled around long enough, but it would be nice to have clear instructions to show you how to reverse that magazine catch if you wanted to. Also, the button itself is replaceable, and you have different length magazine release buttons, so you can situate that as you want it for a good magazine release. So a lot of customization is available with the magazine release, but again, the instructions could be just a little more clear. When it comes to ambidexterity, other than the trigger, there are really only two truly ambidextrous features on the pistol. One is the slide stop / slide release, which has a right and left side lever, and also the takedown latch, which by necessity is ambidextrous, but otherwise the pistol is set up for a right-handed shooter, but as I mentioned a moment ago, you can reverse the magazine catch if you're a lefty, or if you're a right-handed shooter and you prefer releasing the magazine either with your trigger finger or your second finger of your shooting hand. Folks, I can't remember what YouTube's policy is this week. I don't remember if I can show disassembly or not show disassembly, but what I have done is disassembled the handgun off the camera. So I'll tell you that it is extremely simple to disassemble. If you can disassemble virtually any other polymer frame striker fire pistol, you're going to be able to disassemble this one very easily. This is that barrel outside of the slide, and again you can see the flutes and the machining to the barrel itself. I wanted to show you that. Also a quick look inside the slide, and you can see the features. This does have a striker block that you can see right there to prevent the pistol from firing until the trigger is pulled all the way to the rear. You can see the other machining inside is very nice. The extractor is large and beefy, so we shouldn't have any extraction problems when we get out to the range. Here is our captive recoil spring system. And a quick look into the frame itself, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you down into the magazine well to try to see that spring right there is what retains the magazine catch, and I suspect removing that is what allows it to be reversed. But again, there are no instructions to help anyone figure out exactly how to do that. And just like that, the pistol is back together. And now we come to the feature that I think really distinguishes this pistol, and that is this trigger. And I've got to tell you, some of you know I've been very disappointed with a trigger on another handgun that I received recently that I thought was going to have a very good trigger. This is one that I am not disappointed with. The trigger itself is more or less a flat face trigger, and it does have a very wide drop safety right here. Normally that's just a small lever. With this pistol, the drop safety takes up almost the entire, if I can get this to focus, almost the entire width of the trigger. There's just a small bit of trigger on either side that is not part of the drop safety. And it gives the trigger a nice wide feel, and also, I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, but that is checkered to also give your finger a little bit more traction on the trigger. And this trigger is one that has a take up, and let me switch sides here. There is take up to that point right there. At this point the trigger has stopped, and as I slowly increase the pressure on the trigger, there is no creep whatsoever. That is what no creep in a polymer frame striker fire pistol looks like. And for reset, it's right there. That is a very, very nice trigger. I'm going to weigh this in just a moment, and I have not done this yet, so I'm going to be really interested to see where that breaks. It feels like it's breaking in the 3 pound, maybe 3.5 pound area somewhere, but I am really looking forward to seeing exactly where that breaks, and it feels fantastic. Okay, folks, here we go. It's always a little bit of a challenge to do this with a pistol that has a drop safety on the trigger, but I'm going to see what we can do here. Just under 4 pounds on that, and I'm not sure if that was accurate or not. And all I'm doing right here is just depressing that drop safety and then starting the pull after that. 3 pounds, 13 ounces. Let's try one more. And 3 pounds, 13.3 ounces. So between 3.5 and 4 pounds, and the trigger actually feels lighter than that because of that extremely clean break. So folks, if you ever wonder what I'm looking for in a trigger on a pistol like this, that is it. It is not the equal of a tuned 1911 trigger, but it is the best trigger I've ever felt on a polymer frame striker fire pistol. And that's a wrap on the up-close shop review of the Canik Rival Darkside. In part 2 of this video, we'll head out to the range and see how it shoots. But for now, if you have any questions or comments about this video, as always, make sure you forward those to me. Remember, if you purchase anything from Optics Planet, be sure to use my discount code, which is... And if you use that discount code, it's good for 5% off anything you purchase from Optics Planet. Also remember, WarbirdBunker.com is making t-shirts for the channel. If you go to WarbirdBunker.com, you can find my t-shirt there, as well as all of Nathan's other firearms and patriotic themed gear. And if you use my discount code at WarbirdBunker.com, which is HRFunk for you, that'll save you 10% off your order from WarbirdBunker.com. And last but not least, don't forget our new discount code, folks. If you go to House of Pain Munitions, and by the way, once again, House of Pain Munitions supplied this pistol for the review today. And if you go to House of Pain Munitions and use my discount code there, which is HRFunk10, that'll save you 10% off your order from House of Pain. See you next time, folks. And until then, from the dark side, good shooting. Bye-bye.